Welcome to Queen of the Yard, hosted by the two dopest ACs on the planet. I'm Tracy Lauren, a former high school homecoming queen.
And I'm Stacey L. Holman, a former Miss Dillard University.
You just had to show me up.
Well, Tracy, your high school crown is cute, but this podcast is all about the HBCU campus queens, the drama, the magic, and the mission to reign the yard by any means necessary.
Well, all right then. Let's get into it. Hey, I'm Tracy Lauren, excited for another episode of Queen of the Yard. And with me is my girl, Stacey L. Holman.
What's up? Stacey? I gotta love Jones. I gotta love Jones. I gotta love Jones. Going on.
Yes, you did. You caught up with Dr. Viv. And her campaign manager / hubby.
Mr. Frederick.
Her former campaign manager.
Her former campaign, now hubby, Frederick Johnson. Yeah, Tracy, it was a wonderful conversation. And for those of you who caught the conversation that we had with Dr. Viv and her beautiful daughters, Marvelous Marva and Miss Erika, and just what she talked about her campaign, and someone who was very important in helping her in that campaign was her husband. Mm-hmm. So, and that they actually met back when they
way back when.
Mm-hmm. So I was just I was excited just to chat and hear their story, and just such a beautiful story, beautiful couple, Black love all the way, just gushing. And
it's not DEI love though, right?
It's not DEI, yes. It's DEI love, IED love, all kinds of love,
Is it woke love? Is it woke love? Like
it's woke love. It's woke love. It is so woke that it woke everybody. And it's audio, but there is just so many beautiful moments where just I call him between Mr. Johnson and Mr. Fred, like he is just blushing when he just hears his wife talking, and just it's beautiful. It's fitting for the season, Valentine's Day. And
not Valentine's Day. Not Valentine's Day, y'all. Valentine's Day. NES, not MES. But yes.
Well, enjoy everybody.
Day, Memorial's Day.
Happy New Year's. Happy New Year's Day.
New Year's. But yes, we have Stacey did a great follow-up. And if you want us to continue to bring these beautiful follow-ups, like, subscribe, follow us on all of our channels on YouTube, TikTok, and Instagram at Queen of the Yard TV, on Facebook at Queen of the Yard, and on Black Twitter at _Queen of the Yard. And if y'all want to see the beginning of a new TV dynasty, Queen of the Yard, then you got to hit us up on our crowdfunding page.
Indeed, okay? You do.
We need y'all. We need you guys to get this vision out there. We really do. We love the support we've gotten so far. We've raised $8,330 because of you all.
Yes, thank you.
We need a little bit more.
We do. Show your love at crowdfunder.com/Queen of the Yard. And that's crowd, crowdfundr.com/Queen of the Yard.
Yes. All right, Stacey. This is going to be so
Here we go.
Exciting.
The Johnsons. I am here doing a follow-up conversation with the Johnsons, but we're doing it with two of the most important people of the Johnson dynasty, and that is Mr. Frederick Johnson, Sr., and Dr. Vivian Bradley-Johnson. Thank you both for just returning and just continuing this conversation of legacy and your FAMU dynasty, and of course, Miss FAMU. Thank you for taking time out of it's a Super Bowl Sunday, folks. So thank you.
Thank you for having us.
I just first want to find out, how did you guys meet? Well, first of all, you're from Lake City, Florida, right?
Yes.
So what is Lake
Yes.
City? What is Lake City, Florida known for?
You from there? Not much. Farm community.
The farm. Okay. So has your family been there for like how many generations? Like how far can you guys, just curious, trace your lineage?
Probably for me, my dad's side, probably, I would say maybe 100 years.
Wow.
Well, no, my dad, he's 90 years old. So I would say maybe 60 years.
Okay.
I'm 68, right? Yes. So maybe 75 years.
Now, you said it's a farm. What was the crop there? Or what is, was?
At the time was cattle and corn.
And Dr. Vivian, how far does your family go back?
I don't know why he said 60 years, but
They migrated from Georgia.
I know, but mine are probably, I'm going to say 60 or 70 years myself.
Okay. Oh, so originally your people come, as we say with Black folks, your people are from Georgia originally, huh, Mr. Johnson?
Right.
His is from Georgia, but mine are not. But anyway, we're from Florida. My family's from Florida, near I don't know if you've ever heard of, probably not, Live Oak, Florida. But and so there's a lot of history with mine. So I won't even say, but he has a very, how can I say, very interesting background. I mean, his family basically had a name in the city called the Rents, Rentz. And, we would say certain groups lived across the tracks. Basically, in the Black community, in the center of the Black community, his grandfather actually built, I'm just going to say, a center of family-oriented type items that you would do. So you would be able to go to one local place and there was a restaurant, there was a washateria, there was a hair salon, there was a gas station. That gas station is still there today. So really in the Mecca center of the city of Lake City, his family basically had a restaurant, and there weren't that many Blacks with businesses. So his grandfather actually, I guess he sold land or something like that, and that's how he got.
Sold a farmland. Yeah, and he had brothers as well. All of them had land.
And so that was a big thing for the Rents, to have this place in the center. And so he gave each of his children a part of that business. And his mother, Frederick's mother, actually owned the restaurant. And so for years, people in the city, whether Black, white, all races, actually would come for lunch, come for after work, and get their home cooked meal from his restaurant, his mother's restaurant. So really, he has some very interesting background.
Oh, definitely. I mean, just hearing about, Black people did thrive. You know what I mean?
Yes,
we did thrive,
absolutely.
we did own, and I definitely seems like you have the business acumen is definitely in your blood and in your family.
The 1960s.
Wow. Now, do you guys still have family there?
My dad is still living. He's 90.
Oh my gosh, that's a blessing. That is a blessing.
Uncles still got uncles too.
Oh, so okay. So you all have some family reunions probably in the near future.
Yes.
How did you guys meet?
We met at we again, we're from the same hometown. There was only one high school, one junior high school. So we really didn't have a lot of high schools. We had several elementary schools, but it was more like he worked at a grocery store that my family actually, every Friday we would go and get groceries, my family. My grandmother would actually go to that grocery store as well. And so Frederick was working at that grocery store, and he would work in the mornings before going to school. and he would work after school. And that was pretty impressive that a young guy in school had a job.
Full-time job.
A full, wow.
And, yeah. And then he had a motorcycle. So it's like, wow, he had a motorcycle, a young guy. And so that was pretty impressive. So that's how we met. And I don't know, just I think his brother, actually, I knew his brother first, and I was talking with his brother first, and somehow we did not talking, but I just said I knew his brother. We had a conversation, and somehow we then got on a call together, and that's how it started.
She was in 8th grade now, 8th grade.
And what grade were you in?
2 years ahead of her.
I shouldn't have been talking to him, you know?
So 8, I might have been, but 10th grade.
Okay. So you guys, so you met over the phone? Did you see him you saw him at the store? Did you notice him, Dr. Viv?
I think it was at the store, really, because we were not at the same school.
So who noticed who first? Who noticed who? When did you notice him, and when did you notice Mr. Johnson? Mr. Johnson, when did you notice Dr. Viv?
Well, I would say, he probably wouldn't tell me, but I had to notice him because there weren't that many young men, Black young men working. I mean, he was tall, he was handsome, he had a big afro back then, you know, and he used to dress so nicely, you know, so he was and good looking too, you know, so I definitely noticed him, you know, but my mother was very strict. So it was not like I was going to be very open about, you know, noticing him. So I think I had a sister too. And my sister was pretty, a beautiful sister. And I think the guys probably noticed my sister first. You know, she was older, so I was a young thing. So he was probably, and she was smart. My sister passed at the age of 36, but she was an amazing sister. So he probably was looking at her first.
Was that true or not true?
She was 5 years older, you know, maybe.
You know. She was too old for you. You're looking back, huh?
Yeah.
So when did you notice Dr. Viv? What stood out when you noticed her?
She was always beautiful, you know, good looking and smart. So she didn't lack anything. She was highly intelligent too. So it worked. I worked hard worker, always worked, always had money.
Okay. And had a motorcycle. There you go. You get around.
And cars. In high school.
That's impressive. So there was
we'll say something about that, Stacey. As we became closer and I got to know him, yes, he had cars. That was pretty impressive. Cars, motorcycles, he had money. What did that mean? I didn't realize that. That means he didn't spend anything. So for me,
he's a saver.
They have these things, but when you marry somebody like that, that means we don't spend anything, okay? So we opposites. We were opposite.
So that's a good balance. You got a saver and a spender, right?
Yes,
that's always that's a good balance.
So he was that was a good thing for me because he helped to keep things together because you're right. I just liked going out, having nice things.
So you were in 8th grade, he's in 10th grade. When did you start? So by the time you're a senior, then you were in high school at this point, right? And you're at the same high school, correct? Am I?
The time I'm a senior, you're in not the same high school. Never.
We never
had the same place. Because high school's like a 2 years old. 1 year of high school?
No, it was 2 years.
The new one.
2 years. We started. It was actually 10th, 11th, and 12th.
We were never in the same school at the same time.
So you were 3 years then older?
2 years.
We were never at the same school. I don't think.
No.
Okay.
You sure?
Positive.
I don't remember. See how bad it is? We don't remember.
Well, positive. We were never at the same school.
So when did you start?
Yeah. How did we?
Yeah. How did you get? And especially with your mom. Like, how did you navigate that with your mom?
Well, I would go visit. I guess I still can visit her at her home, and probably in 9th grade, I was, that was okay.
Yeah.
We didn't go out on dates, but I would come visit.
Yeah, that was something I was able to take what they called back then, take company. Okay.
So tell our listeners, when you say take company, what does that mean?
That means can a boy come and visit you in your home? Yes. So I could take company in my home, and that company, we would sit in the living room, and that's it. We would not go anywhere else besides the living room. And at a certain time, it's time to go home. Okay. You don't stay late at night. So it was very, very different. So he would come and visit me. I think one of the things, the first time we went out was I invited him to a dance. I asked, right?
Yeah.
And Tri-High dance or something like this in the 9th grade.
So you asked him. Okay, look at it, progressive. Yes, I love it.
Yes, and that's something. Yes, when he go, but see, I thought, but he was in high school, and I'm asking in the 9th grade. Yes, so he took me, and this was not the Tri-High was predominantly. It was not a predominantly.
It was mixed.
It was a mix, but I don't know. I asked him to go. It was almost like the prom. And that's really how we started, I think.
So that's when officially you're like, okay, you're my boyfriend and you're my girlfriend.
After that, yes.
So what did you do for your prom, Mr. Johnson? Did you go to your prom, first of all? Because I know it's people who didn't go to prom.
I went to my prom. It was not a good prom, but I won't talk about that.
And I didn't.
She didn't go. Yeah.
Okay. Well, that's why it wasn't a good prom. That's why.
Probably. It was not a good prom.
Yeah. And I didn't go. That wasn't a prom. That was 9th grade. I didn't even go to my prom. So I've never been to a prom before, because what I did when they were having, I thought, okay, 11th grade, I'm not going to the prom. Everybody's going to prom. I'm not going. So I tried to act like it was not important. And then in the 12th grade, when everyone was going to the prom, I would have gone. But there was a Future Business Leaders of America's conference at the same time. And so it was the same time. So I was a member of that. And so that's how I missed it.
Well, you're like, I have bigger things I'm gonna do. I'm gonna be a queen. Yes. Okay. I'm gonna be coronated. So I don't need to go to prom. Y'all go to prom. So let's jump ahead a little bit. How did you end up at FAMU, Mr. Johnson? Like, why FAMU? Did any other family members go there?
First to go to school, go to college. So it was kind of unique. My teachers talked to me about, it was a graduate of FAMU, and they talked about FAMU, and I never really left home, never saw the campus, even though it was 100 miles away. I never visited the campus. My granddad was kind of unique, because, real business oriented, very smart man, and he would drive the school bus, and he would take kids to FAMU, but I've never went to FAMU until the day I went on campus. And so my instructors helped me with the application, and I got enrolled there, and that was the first time going to FAMU. And I was a pretty serious student, because I was kind of afraid of failing and going back to the farm. Kind of like you're working all the time. Even I had a job with the grocery store chain at the time. They gave me a job in Tallahassee to work at another location, but I said I got to focus on academics, and I did not take the job, and I just plowed in my academics, and I just excelled. Very serious. When I got there, I was just serious student. I just wasn't, no nonsense, no games, no nothing. I just closed the library down. I was just serious. I was serious in a fearfulness of going back to the farm community, which I wanted to get away from.
Now,
so I excelled.
Did you go to a predominantly Black high school?
Same school she went to, FAMU.
Oh no, high school.
Oh no, it was mixed.
Okay.
I mean, we had no.
It was integration then. It wasn't like.
Okay.
One high school.
So that's like your teachers. I mean, that says a lot when you have professors that are investing. I say professors, I'm thinking high school, college, but teachers that went to these
graduates from the school, and so they just.
Yeah, that's what usually happened back then, right? You had, most of our teachers went to historically Black colleges because they could not get in anywhere else.
Mm-hmm.
And so they were influencers. They influenced us to go to college. I mean, I was a little bit different because I'm the youngest of my family, so all my brothers and my sister attended Florida A&M. So mine was like, oh, what do you mean? Where are you going? You know where you're going, right? So that's really I had brothers and sisters that had been there really before Frederick and I actually attended FAMU. So he knew my sisters and my brothers were there. So he had that kind of reference too. And again, in our small town, there were 2 historically Black colleges that most people attended, and that was Florida A&M and Bethune-Cookman College. Those were the only ones in Florida. And so that's where we chose to go.
Mr. Johnson, how many siblings do you have? Where do you fall in line?
I'm the oldest.
Okay.
And I have one sister. She's 10 years younger than I am.
So was college even something your family talked about? Or was it really, I mean, you talked about your teachers encouraged you, but did your family expect you to
I didn't even think about college really until my teachers talked about it, because I didn't know about college. No legacy there. And they said, you're pretty smart, your grades are pretty good. You need to apply, and that's okay. And I, went to their homes and it's come to my house on Sunday, had to fill the forms out, and I did my mother's tax returns, made up my tax return. They didn't make much money at the time. Well, they made pretty good money, but I just did all the paperwork myself. And we applied, I got accepted. So it was nothing, they just saw something in me because academically I was very strong and I didn't really think much about it. And they told me I had a good aptitude for college. And it's okay, because I never really missed a day in school until probably I didn't miss a day in school since probably I got these letters in the mail. I probably went to school probably one day, whole term of going to school, and that was at the 12th grade playing hooky. But I never missed class, and I always had good grades. But it wasn't hard for me. But they saw something in me that I didn't really think about. My dad said go join the Army, and they started talking to me early, so about my academics, and they worked with me, to get me where I am. Really, really supported me, and I was just surprised because I had no idea of college.
Now,
what about Army?
Do you remember your first impressions when you stepped on FAMU's campus? And I'm gonna have a similar but different question for you, Dr. Vivian.
Well, when my dad and mom took me to campus, it was a more interesting thing. That was new to them as well. And so when we finally found a dormitory, I remember it vividly. And the guy was standing in line and going dorm. And I got out the car and they said, okay, my dad said, this is the place you want to be, yeah. And when they got me, and when I got in the line, I said, okay, we headed back. And so it was like the car still almost running, right? So it was drop off. I was dropped off and I was on my own. And I was always kind of a mature guy because I always worked, right? So, and that was a new thing because they didn't know. I got to the dorm location and my dad got in the car. My mother didn't get in the car at all. I think she sat in the car, kind of close. And my dad got out, said, okay, got my stuff in my hands. I went in the dorm room, right? And they said, well, you got it. And we headed back, and that was it. The next time I saw him again was graduation, and Vivian invited my mother, surprisingly, to the Who's Who ceremony I was selected for, and had my mother come on the bus, and that was a surprise for me. But that was it.
Those are the only 3 times your parents were on campus.
Dropped off with dad and mom. My mother came in my senior year for my Who's Who ceremony, my walking banner, the time we were married. She caught the bus and she came to that event. And the next time was graduation when they both came again. That was it.
Oh, wow.
And I went home because I was 100 miles away, but it wasn't like that was it. Nothing, nothing. Didn't have much, they had money, but they sent me $5 or whatever with the care package.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Parents, we didn't have all of that money to be able to do that. And we really didn't, well, my parents attended probably because of homecoming, we would always go to homecoming, but I would think with Fred, I mean, that was they were probably saying, why should we go? What
they didn't know what the purpose.
And we're gonna see you anyway. We're gonna see you soon. You come back home and visit.
Well, I'm a mature individual. I always worked. I had a motorcycle and a car while in college. I didn't bring it to college, but at home I had a motorcycle and a car at the house. So I was making payments on that while in school. I had money saved to make the payments, so I was always above, right?
You could teach a course for
work ethic driven. So I had no problem. So when Vivi came to college 2 years before me, I was already sophomore class president. I was part of a fraternity already. She was kind of like, didn't really know. She knew I was smart, but she didn't know how smart I really was academically. And everybody looked up to me, like Fred this, Fred that, Fred that. And it kind of got her attention a little bit, like this guy's he's not a regular cat.
Just so listeners know, Dr. Viv has an inquisitive look like, I knew. What are you talking about?
She's in a different setting.
Okay. On a grander stage. And I feel like you could do a course for how to save money in school. You could totally do that, because how to make $1 or a $5 stretch.
Yeah, I save all my money as working as in the stores, even though it's a janitorial cleaning the stores morning and night. I saved half my check, so I always had money.
Because you had to spend it on your girl, Dr. Viv.
I try to dress well, and it didn't take much. And I was really a full-time job, working and going to school full-time for years, not just probably 9th grade on, full-time job, 9, 10, 11, 12. I'm working full-time and going to school full-time.
So, Dr. Viv, I take you'd been to FAMU. Did you want to go to another school? I mean, were you ever thinking I would love to go to?
Well, let me just say again, we really didn't know a whole lot about any of the schools outside of Florida. I didn't. Neither of my parents attended college, but my sister and my brother did. So, actually, yes, I was trying to be rebellious. It's like, okay, why do I have to go to FAMU? Everybody else is going, I'm not going to FAMU. So I called myself, I said I was going to apply. I wanted to possibly go to medical school, or engineering. I was thinking about engineering, chemical engineering, or what else? What did I say? Or pharmacy. I ended up pharmacy. So I said I was going to apply, told everybody I was going to apply to the University of Florida. But, they were like, what? So they weren't having that. So I never did. It was just a threat. I never did. So I knew that it was like I didn't have a choice other than FAMU. If my family was going to FAMU, I applied there. I didn't apply anywhere else. I just told them I was going to go to University of Florida.
I attended school, I didn't know what a major was.
Oh, really?
No idea. I went to school, thought school that said was a major. And they said, what's your major? What do you mean? I'm going to college. I had no idea what to major in. Never thought about accounting, never thought about nothing. I mean, I'm just going to school freshman year, no major. What is the major? And I was saying, well, my uncle said, well, my major is, what you mean? I'm going to college.
So your uncle asked you what your major was?
Yeah. And I'm saying, I'm going to college. What do you mean?
My major.
So, and it was pure divine guidance that I became an accountant. No reference, no nothing. And I believe I was in my science class, and the professor said, have you considered medicine or science? I said, what? So you had a very high aptitude. And if you would have caught me probably a little early, I'd probably been in medicine, right? Because I didn't have a major. And so when I got into the accounting part, these scholarship students were saying, how hard the classes were and blah, 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 blah. And I just got in line and just, okay, let me get in line and see what, just sign up. Yeah. No counseling. Yeah. I was competitive. So I said, it's all so hard, the accounting classes. So I just got in the line and registered for accounting class.
and I think also, again, neither of our parents attended college. Again, influenced, encouraged by our high school teachers, elementary teachers, to do that. You got to excel. Education was important. Our parents I know my parents, although they didn't go to college, but they knew that education was important,
Right.
that was going to help us to get further. But like I said, he didn't know. And what the other thing is that a lot of his classmates attended college. And I think what it was, that if your parents were teachers, it was like those, well, not only that, the teachers were the ones that were considered like, oh, you gotta, if your parents are teachers, you're like making a lot of money. It's you know, pretty impressive, you know. And so a lot of his classmates actually had parents that were teachers.
Right.
And they all were going to college.
Right.
So I think he just followed them. He said, well, if they're going to college, I got to go too, right? So I think that also, but he really probably didn't have a lot of information about, you know, what it was all about.
Right.
Yeah.
So he did great. He did
no
great.
counseling. I mean, no one, even my counselor that helped me with the paperwork, never talked about major.
Wow.
Only talking about you going to college, and I'll help you for the paperwork out to apply to get accepted. But no one talked about, well, you can be this. You know, all we knew was teaching, police officer, which is not, back then, didn't have black police officer, probably one.
Yeah.
Fireman. If you worked at a bank, you thought you was rich, and you even a teller, right? So we didn't, like, oh, she's a teller, she's making money, she's at the bank, but we have no concept of salaries and income, and none, zero. So we knew farm, we knew janitorial work, but nothing outside of that to look up, say, I want to be this one day. Nothing like that.
And I'm going to say, Stacey, to get us back on our path, I think, again, that's what impressed me about my husband, you know, this young man at the time, because again, he was a hard worker. He respected the elderly, and you know, I was big on that, you know. One of the things that really got me also with my grandmother going to the grocery store, we would always see him on Fridays, and for some reason, I don't know, I may have been talking about boyfriends or something with my grandmother. I don't know how. And she said, oh, I really like that young Frederick at the grocery store. I really like him. And so she said, you don't like him? And I was like, Grandma, well, you need to like him. If you like him, I said that to my grandma. But if my grandmother liked him, wow, you know, then that was pretty like.
And her daddy liked me.
And
that's
my
even
dad liked me. He was always trying to impress the elderly people. I think he was trying to get in good with them so that he could come to me, right?
More mature. You knew.
But
you
yeah,
knew.
I think that was
Fred
it.
knew. You knew. You were.
Daddy liked me, and boy, he liked me a lot. I would bring him when they opened the bus bags of dog food. I would bring the open bags to him. He had dogs.
And so yeah, he thought that was okay. He's bringing me free dog food, right? So he knew what he was doing. There was an ulterior motive for the things that he was doing. And he would always look to get our groceries to, you know, you would have bag boys to take your groceries out to the car. He would always somehow, you know, see us and then end up taking us our groceries to the car.
They tipped me well.
So just y'all know, again, I wish y'all could see just Mr. Fred just beaming, just totally beaming, knowing like, yeah, nothing like someone who's 2 years older, because you know what to do.
Absolutely.
So you were dating, you continued to date while you were in college, right? You guys were still together. Okay. Right. And you pledged, I know what fraternity, but you pledged.
Kappa, my freshman year.
Okay. My dad's a Kappa, so.
Okay.
Yeah. So I have a very, very special place in my heart for Kappas. Your girl shows up on campus and just kind of take us through there. You know, you guys are now at school together, you know, and we'll even fast forward it. You're getting closer to, you know, this whole, like, let's talk about just what Miss FAMU was in your eyes. Like, what did you, before?
When she became Miss FAMU, I was not on campus. I was already had a job in Dallas.
But before, like when you,
well, she talked about, I encouraged her to do it. You know, it's like, okay.
Wow.
You know,
Why?
You can do.
Let's go back
Well,
to when you told them. Let's go back to when you told them, Dr. Viv, like, I'm
he had
thinking
an
about
interest, and I always support her.
Well, I think again, my sorority sisters. I mean, my sorority sisters were encouraging me to go, and I guess I was my high school queen.
Yeah, high school queen.
okay, see, I didn't know you
was
high school homecoming queen.
Was it a homecoming queen?
College.
Yeah, well,
CHS.
yes. There was a competition for that, and so yes, it was for homecoming, right? Anyway. We had a competition, so which is again not it was a mix, but predominantly we were a minority, and so that's where it started, where I was competing for, I guess, the queens. And I don't know, again, I think it was my sorority sisters, and I then told Frederick, it's like, I don't know about this. And so he encouraged me. So why?
I encourage you to do it, and I said, I'm going to send you the clothes, man. Send out different clothes to wear.
I didn't have the money to do that.
I kept buying
He was your sponsor. He was able to sponsor your.
I was the sponsor. Yeah, I'll send her clothes, and I like clothes. Pick out clothes for her, send her stuff to wear, and look nice, and we support all the way up. So no,
he did, and that was pretty, like, wow. While you are campaigning, you have to be dressed a certain way, and so he paid for. I don't know if you bought them, but you paid for clothing so that I could wear something every day different that week.
Okay, so you're campaigning for how many days? How many days are we talking? How many wardrobe changes?
A week, just 1 week.
Yeah.
1 week. That's a lot of wardrobe. 7.
Yes. Yeah.
See, that's good to have a saver, folks. Good to have a saver.
I was working at the time too, so I was working, so I wasn't making much money, but I provided the best I could, do the best I could. But,
yeah, he was very supportive there, and I'll share with you some other things. He very unusual, I would say. Again, in my mind, money or having a lot of material things, that was not important to him. And for him to be so giving, again, he was very encouraging. Anything that I wanted to do, I thought I wanted to do, he would be able to talk very positive about why he thought I could do it. So even today, if I'm having doubts about something, I could go to him, and I know that he's going to always say something positive to make me feel good about, myself and why I should be doing it. So he's definitely been great. I didn't say this. We're going further, but even in college, when I left Florida A&M and had to go to graduate school, I had no transportation. But I had to get back to school. And I don't know if I told you this, my husband, we weren't even married. He was here in Dallas. He gave up his car.
Oh, wow.
And gave me his car so that I could drive to school every day. And where he caught the bus or whatever, I don't even know. How did you get to? I think he caught the bus.
I was traveling with the GE at the time, so I was gone all the time. And I was GE, and the guy said, I got a car to sell for $500. And old Datsun two-tone. I said, okay, I bought a little car, no air conditioning, right? So I bought the little car, and it drove fine. And Ford had the best transportation in Atlanta, and it worked,
So that was pretty impressive for somebody to make that sacrifice. You know what I'm saying? We weren't even married.
Yeah.
So I'm just telling you.
And I paid her rent up in Atlanta.
Oh, now he's telling too much now. Okay.
Well, I mean, I did that.
But yes, that's what I'm saying. He sacrificed a lot. He supported me. He wanted me to do those things. So all the things that I wanted to do to try to make to be better, he supported me in those efforts. So from college, really, that's where I was able to see it, because in high school, he couldn't do too much with my parents, right? It was really just visiting me, and then before you know it, he was off to college. But while I was in high school, I would have an opportunity for homecoming, or when we were dating, he was a Kappa, and they would have like the black and white ball or the
Playboy Jazz.
Playboy Jazz. And
Wait,
so
wait,
I
what is
would
it called? The Playboy Jazz? I
Yeah.
love Kappas. Y'all are hilarious.
So I got a chance to, my parents would allow me to go to, so we went that weekend, me and a girlfriend and we would go for that dance.
Okay.
And just for the weekend, and that's it. And so we did that before actually going to campus. My best friend and I also became, we were roommates. So we all are from Lake City. And so we were roommates. She knew Frederick really well. So again, it was a great experience.
Now, whose idea was it for the prop plane, and who paid for it?
When I was running for Miss FAMU, I got a prop plane. Remember the plane with the banner?
That was your idea.
And who paid for it?
I think she had a fundraiser. I have no idea.
But I told her it was only $150.
And the problem came from somewhere. Some of us paid. I can't remember that.
I'm sure he probably.
I was sending money. I have no idea.
If we had to, he was helping.
Yeah.
So, jump to coronation. Now, I know you were working in the workforce. Did you attend coronation?
I did come, but I met Mr. Coronation because I was kind of broke, at the time.
Because you were funding a campaign. That's why.
I thought you came to the coronation, but he did not come to when I was competing. So,
right.
For the what I was saying, compete, you have the week of campaigning, but there's one night that there's a talent show where you're being asked questions. And remember, I told you that night that there was a little altercation,
a little tussle.
Yeah. So,
but had to sing, right?
Yeah, I had to sing. My high school teacher, actually, drove from 100 and something miles to play for me that night.
Oh my gosh, wow.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. He was a FAMU graduate. He was the one that I think encouraged Frederick to go to college. But he was very supportive of us. And so he came and played for me.
Yeah.
And so Frederick, again, was very supportive, but he could not, and it was during the week. It was a Tuesday night. He had to work. So he did not come, but he did come for coronation.
What do you remember of seeing her in coronation in the dress, being crowned? What are your clearest and fondest?
I remember her having a white stole mink. With the white stole.
Did you come?
I don't
know. The white stole was really for my competition.
And that was the administrator that gave it to us.
I didn't have a mink or whatever.
I gave it to
but again, we were trying to, I came out, walked out. I had a guy to escort me out on the stage, and I had guys waving big fans over me, and I came out with a mink. So that was like a wow.
This is your coronation, or this is the competition? This is the coronation.
It's the competition.
Okay.
And it was one of my.
She
was administrator, and she was a sorority sisters that actually we asked, did you have somebody? One of my line sisters asked her, did you have one of these mink coats or whatever? And she did. And so she allowed us me to wear it. So I had a white mink on, a white gown. And so it really set off the stage. It was really nice. And then I sung. So I was a quiet person. And then I guess my singing was okay. So that went well.
So coronation. So
I don't know whether he was here.
I remember telling me about this school. Maybe I wasn't there. I was so vividly in my mind.
So Stacey, you can see we're so old we can't even remember everything.
I may not have been there, but I remember the stuff. I remember the lady well. She's in
Miss Cooper.
Miss Cooper, because I talked to Miss Cooper early on when I was when I moved off campus. I met with her because I wanted to have a meal plan while off campus, and that was never done. I said, why can't I have a meal plan as a student off campus? So I got to make sure I could eat every day. And she went through all the loops to get me approved to have a meal plan not as a student on campus. She did that for me. I remember her well.
Resourceful.
They do that now, but then you had the option. You're off campus, don't on a meal plan. I said, no. I need a meal plan. You mean off campus? Yes, I want a meal plan. I need to eat every day if I'm broke. I mean, I guarantee. And she said, she looked like, are you serious? Yeah, I'm serious. And she made it work. I was probably the first off-campus student with a meal plan.
So after this, you'll probably, FAMU will probably get a bunch of folks try to get that meal plan.
Well, they can do that now. You can do that now.
So
So my thing was about, they didn't have much resources.
So
and I was off campus. I need to eat. Yeah. I need to make sure there's food. I could cook, but I need to make sure I could eat every day. And they made that work for me. An off-campus student can have a meal plan on campus. And she did that for me.
So now I'm going to kind of jump back and forth. So when did you get married? When did you propose? And when did you realize, before you even say that, when did you realize for each of you individually that, you know what, that's going to be my husband. That's going to be my wife?
Well, I believe in college, we were engaged probably my senior year.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so she came to Dallas and we went to
wait, your senior year or her senior year?
Her senior year.
Okay, you're engaged. Okay.
Right. So she came to Dallas, went to this place up in the sky with a reunion arena ball.
That, you know, every city has this restaurant that looks over the city and rotates. Yeah. So we went out for New Year's Eve dinner at this restaurant. I had went to buy Zales and got a payment plan to buy give me the head down, give me a payment plan. And this is the same one. Same one.
Oh, see, Zales last. Now, were you expecting, was this a surprise? Did you have any idea?
I did not have any idea.
I've been dating for a while, so it wasn't like, you know, like,
we have been dating for
years,
several years, you know?
I mean, that don't mean nothing nowadays, or even back then, you could be dating forever and it's like, but I mean, so when did you realize?
But even with that, even with me getting a ring, we dated because it was kind of interesting. So we got engaged before I became Miss FAMU, right?
Probably.
Yeah. Oh, wow. So I was engaged.
FAMU. That is scandal. No.
You see, now I think he did that on purpose. He didn't.
I didn't know about the Miss FAMU thing. I didn't really did that. Yeah.
But yes.
So when did you realize, Mr. Johnson? You're like, you know what? This is my forever.
You know, apart from high school, her sister told her that she told her sister that that's gonna be my husband, and that was in high school. And I remember that.
My sister told
you told your sister in high school that's gonna be my husband.
Oh, I told her.
You told her that.
Okay.
In high school.
In high
that's
school.
Gonna be my husband.
And I probably said that because again, I had a very strict family. So going with having different boyfriends and all of that was not the thing.
I had the potential, had the quality, I wasn't a deadbeat.
So okay, you told me about her, but what about you? When did you realize, okay?
High school. I mean, I didn't have any.
Sounds so casual. High school. I mean, that's a good thing. High school.
I never had any, I didn't have any reservation that she would not be my wife. It was always.
But you thought that in high school?
I thought in high school.
Wow.
No, we dated in high school and broke up like most folks do, right? We, dated and broke up, kids do. But there was never plan B, we might have broke up and fell out a little bit, but we always came back together. We was just, young. So I never thought of another alternative.
Because I think that he, hopefully, again, church girl, his parents were all into the church, you know what I'm saying? So those types of things I think were important to him. School.
We were together, school, we were together almost, when he saw her, he saw me. That was like 2 years nonstop. So
that was college.
In college, right? So when we were not together, they said, where is that guy you met? That's him right there. Because they remembered us always, every function, Kappa function. She was Miss Kappa of the side.
Okay.
Right? Hell on the float. So, everything was always revolving around her and us. Always. We were together every 2 years. and she's watching me. Them girls talking to me. She's like, "I gotta like you." She like, I see how she looking at you. She didn't play. She didn't play with nobody. We go study, she that girl like you. She kind of, she want to study, but she's warned like,
But I must tell you, Stacey, yes, in college there may have been a little jealousy or insecurities, but when you've been married 40 years, that goes away, right?
40 years in, 40 years in, you don't think about that. I'm an easy person. I do help people, and they're females, older, younger, child. God gave me that gift to help females and all over the world, and that's what I do. And he just wired me that way, and I do help a lot of them. She don't even know. She meet them, but people call me somebody called me the other day from Philippines.
Oh wow!
Saw it one time, cancer issues, but always helping older 80-year-old lady, it was London, but always people call me feel comfortable and talking to me, and I'm just real easy going and see what I'll listen. And if I can help, I will help. I mean, help with financially, not just how you doing. If you need, if I can do it, I'll do that. That's how I'm wired. That's how I'm wired.
Acts of service. Sounds like that's your love language. Acts of service.
I'm just wired that way.
And I'm going to say again, opposite attracts. Again, I'm pretty uptight, anxious, always on the go. He's pretty laid back. So we definitely are very different, and that has worked for us.
And I just want to, we have just little time left, but I just want to just fast forward on your dynasty. I mean, literally orange and green runs through your veins. I mean, you have 3 kids, beautiful, beautiful kids, all graduated from FAMU, and all have donned a title of Mr. FAMU and Miss FAMU. So when your son, Frederick, the second, when he said he was going to run, what was your both of you, what was your reaction?
Well, they didn't have Mr. FAMU when I was coming up. That was kind of new, right? I didn't know that existed, right? So he said, I want to do it. I said, okay. I mean, I didn't know that it existed. And so he ran, and my wife went and supported him on campus. She down there. She down there with him. Vote for my son. Vote for here. She's like, she
can't say no to mama. You can't say no to mama.
She campaigning for him on campus. So and I was saying here. She campaigning for us. So they say he wouldn't win, but he did. But he was, charismatic speaker. He's unique. He can speak very well. And so what FAMU did for him, what we saw in him, he thrived. And he didn't want to go to FAMU, period. He wanted to play football, of course, that story, OU football, very good football player. But, we told him, okay, if you get a scholarship, you can go those places. But he didn't. And so we said, well, you get the Vivian and Frederick Johnson scholarship, but it's only going to FAMU.
I love it.
And so he went to FAMU with rocks in his jaw, but he was determined to be the best. And so he was driven to be the best, and he got his friends, found other friends are very smart too, right? So he thrived in that environment, and next thing you know, he's done very well. He was driven.
Yeah.
Because he was mad. He was mad at me because I wouldn't let him play football, and I wouldn't pay out of state tuition in Oklahoma. And I said, nah, we're academic family.
Yeah, but like I said, for what the Mr. and Miss FAMU thing, he was the first.
Yeah.
He started it all. And actually, he started with the housing. I didn't even know they had housing competitions.
Yeah, Mr. the housing, yeah.
Yeah, and that's how he started. There was 300?
He was very creative. So housing thing, he went for the first dorm. Then he had to win for all the housing of the Mr. Housing. So he got this event with the 300 movie 300. And
probably don't remember that.
One of the big things back there. So we saw it 3 times in Dallas. We took that idea and he got a group to support him. He's out with the uniforms and stuff on. So they bought him as Mr. Housing, which means they paid his room and board.
Nice.
For a year, and they paid his meal plan.
So listen,
This is a school
Stacey,
sponsored thing.
that's a Frederick Johnson's son, because that means he's looking, if it has something to do where it's saving money,
yes,
he's okay with that.
Those are school perks. Dorm for a year or semester, meal plan for a year, semesters, those are perks. So not just winning. And he flew to, a matter of fact, flew to Michigan, Detroit, to pick out the color scheme for the new dorm furniture.
Oh my, wow, that's like a,
it was
okay.
Big thing, right? So now Michelle comes up and she runs for housing.
So he
and she wins.
Yeah. So he started the path on how to do it.
How to get that money, right?
Okay. Yeah, so she won the housing.
Free housing. And meal plan. Then Erika won. Housing. Meal plan. So all of them who won.
I see a pattern here.
Yeah. And the Miss FAMU thing, they got free housing too. Okay. So it's not like you just won, you got benefits. Housing allowance, clothing allowance, right?
So they knew, so they obviously, you tapped into something there.
Absolutely.
Mr. Fred, about helping Dr. Viv with the
absolutely. There's
you
perks
go.
on these competition, which I don't think she had as much coming up. She had a little.
Well, we were able to get a room. I got a chance to, as Miss FAMU, you had a room. Okay. And a big room. You got a big room. Dorm room. And then you got clothing. So the clothes that you would get when you're going on traveling or the games, they would give you some allowance so that you could get something, but it was never enough. Okay.
It's never enough, is it? Well, unless we have Mr. Fred doing our budget and our counting.
That's right.
We made it work. Yeah, absolutely.
Make it work.
So all of them went to school debt free.
See, and that's amen. So I just have like 3 other just quick questions. You know, we're in a particular climate right now where there's a lot of when it comes around Blackness and our identity. Why are HBCUs more important now than ever? And you can even speak about FAMU for you, and just what
for us, my.
He said, why is it more important now?
Because it depends on your environment you come out of. Like what I came out of was like, no idea. You strong Black man, hard working, but you had no idea, no mentorship of that looks like you, and also really they're looking at you how to get you to what they see the potential of you being, right? We all have potential, right? But some folks will beat your potential, will ignore you because you hadn't got as polished or as prime as your colleagues, right? So, but my professors saw in me a great potential and worked with me to get me where I am today. Without them, if I went to the University of Florida, I know what happened. I probably would have graduated, probably joined the Army. They'll beat me down, my self-esteem down. You couldn't do this, you couldn't do that. Fraternity helped me a lot. But my professors really took a liking to me. And when I had problems in accounting, whatever, they would go to their office and spend time with me because I was driven and they saw this guy's really trying. We're going to work with him. Because my professor wrote, when I applied to Harvard, they wrote letters for me. Glowing letters. I had a full scholarship. I left school, I had a full scholarship to Atlanta University. Said, Fred, I'll pick you for the AU, full ride, you want to go. It's 2 people, you and somebody else. So those kind of folks looked after me, gave me opportunities I never thought about. I would know what happened, just what they did. And they was friends of mine for years. I went back to my professor, went back to school. My son was there, a great professor. He remembered me from 25 years ago, still a professor. Wow. I remember you. I know your son. I know Vivian. It's like, wow.
Well, I'm going to say, in this environment right now, why it is important. I feel like, again, where we may not be welcomed at many of the schools, I'm just going to say DEI now is being taken away.
Yeah.
I'm concerned about whether there will be other even how it will impact our HBCUs, you know? And so funding, just recently, funding for federal funding was taken away. So that concerned me about schools, whether, again, state schools would be impacted. And so I say now, because as Frederick has talked about, we found that HBCUs have been a place where you can find people who are supportive of you, who wanting you to do well, who's encouraging you. But we don't get enough funding at those schools, right? And so it's going to be even more important now that we start funding more. We start supporting these schools more, because I'm not sure whether or not we will have access to the other things that we've had in the past.
Our kids thrived at PWC schools. I mean, it's not
PWI.
like, what is it?
PWI.
PWI schools.
Yeah.
You know, so it's not like a distinction. They went to Florida State and all of them thrived. Eric went to Manhattan School. So it wasn't like a lack of preparation. They thrived in that environment. It didn't matter. But, you know, they put that on blanket over here, HBC, you know, you're black, you limited, da-da-da-da-da-da. But they'll brainwash you to think that you're not, even my CPA examination, and I'm saying, guys, we're taking the same tests. We got the same books. And so when I passed the test, it was like, oh, surprise. How can you be surprised? It's the same test. It's the same books. But still, they look at that, oh, well, what? Doctors are saying, I got medical doctors, and they got the same problem. Top of the class, you still are not getting at the table. You still, academically, they still think you're inferior. It's just a brain, at the high level that you're not. Even the ones that go to PWIs, they're still challenged. Because of skin. It's just what it is, right? It's just reality.
And two other quick questions. So I'm going to focus a little bit more now. Same question, but for Queens. And, you know, you've been Miss FAMU, forever Miss FAMU, and you've supported Queens and Kings, Mr. Fred. So why are these competitions, and why are HBCU campus Queens, and I'm going to say Kings, so important to the fabric of our culture?
One thing, you rise to the top to be an ambassador of your university, right? It may not be as prevalent with in the real world, but among your peers, other HBCU schools, and those faculty members, those graduates, that is a big thing, right? You made Ebony magazine, you know. So when you go to Southern, oh, she was former Miss FAMU. Oh my goodness, that means a lot to that network of people. So you rose to the top, you got voted in, and that just tells you the campus as a whole thought enough of you, select you for this position. That's number one. The second thing, your self-esteem about yourself. Even when you're down, you say, well, like I tell honey, you was Miss FAMU. You all your 14,000, 5,000 folks, they voted on you. You're not lesser. You are at the top of the food chain. They thought that much of you to get you in a position. So for self-esteem ongoing, even when those bad times come, it's like I can look back and say, I did achieve something big that everybody thought a lot of me to vote for me at that particular time. It's like winning a Heisman Trophy. Like I won it. I may only played 1 year, but I was a Heisman Trophy winner, and I can talk about that achievement. So the past achievement sometimes helps with the future thinking about when you challenge that you are something, you are worth something, you are worthy of that.
Okay, well, and from my perspective, I'm going to say the Queens, the Kings, again, the skills that you get from being in those positions, your leadership skills that you end up developing, just the fact that you're expected to go and speak before your classmates, the university, you're expected to go on field trips or whatever for the university and speak. And so if you are an introvert like I was, if you are, not accustomed to public speaking, you will, again, you're going to get that experience. You're representing the school. And so again, if you can do that on an HBCU campus, when you get out in the real world working, you have that mindset that I can be a leader, I can speak publicly, I can do these things. So again, I think it's important. Those are important roles because you do, the experience that you get just is invaluable, I think. And you don't even realize it, but it's invaluable.
And because we're going to air this on Valentine's Day, we cannot not ask a question. 40 years, right?
40.
40 years. So what is the question you get asked most when people know how long you've been married? And what?
Wow.
And what is your answer?
That long? Hey, that long? Y'all been together that long? Yes. Same wives, same kids. We're not a little blended family. It just, for us, for my friends that's younger, that I mentor, male and female, it is a to them, it's like, we can do this. We can stay together, right? Because they ever have marital issues. I mean, that's just life, right? So seeing us, they aspire to be this way. So we look at Fred and Vivian. They've been together 40 years, right? So, and I tell them, you can make it work. Because everybody now, because I'm a public servant, so I get these conversations on male and female when they're having issues, and they look at me as, okay, I need to go back and work this thing out. I need to get this together because, man, Fred and Vivian, they still at it. Yeah, we're not perfect, but you got to have someone to look up to say they stay married. They got 3 kids, got a home, they got careers. If they can do it, we can do it. And I encourage them, make it work. Work your differences out. Get professional help. Do what you need to do. Put your pride down. If you got issues that I can see, I'll say you got some problems. And this was causing the problem. It's you. It's not them, her. It's you or him, right? So we can speak of wisdom at 40 years because it's not easy, right? Yeah. But we can speak of wisdom of the challenges we had for 40 years and how we worked through those. And so we're just a source of how you can stay married and be happy with it, and how to get through challenges. You're gonna have those. That's automatically. But how you work through those things, don't throw it out, don't just run to the front door the first time you get mad, I'm done, So what was the question again?
So the bottom line for us, people, what do we say? They are amazed that we are from the same hometown and that we have been able to be together for 40 years. And also, again, have our kids, as you stated, we were blessed to have kids to go to college and be in those leadership positions. And I just think because we were here in Dallas alone, we didn't have any family here. We knew our parents didn't have a whole lot, right? But we were blessed to have an education from a great university. And so again, we just knew we had each other, and that's what we tell people. You have each other, and like you said, it has not been perfect every day, okay? There have been challenges, but we knew that we weren't going to give up. Our children, we had to be there for them. And again, so it has been all worth it, all worth it.
And so has this conversation. Thank you both so much. Thank you
Thank you.
Mr. Fred, you're not a chatter, not a talker, but I so appreciate you going down memory lane. And Dr. Viv, always so wonderful. Just thank you for sharing. And gosh, this is Black Love, you guys.
Oh my goodness. Stacey, you told no lies. They are absolutely adorable.
They are so sweet. And just a testimony, an example of a marriage that is a partnership, that's a friendship, and that's just love binding in so many ways. So it was just I could have, the conversation was supposed to be like 40 minutes and then like an hour plus later. And on a Super Bowl Sunday. So I'm just so grateful for Dr. Viv and Mr. Fred for just their time and just their story and just the incredible just family story, just the dynasty.
Mhm.
So, you know, folks, if you
Mhm.
missed it, you can still listen and you can still watch our interview with Dr. Viv, Marvelous Marva, and Miss Erika. I feel like we have to get the son on at some point. We got to get Fred the second or Fred Jr.
We
on.
do, because he was a bachelor. He was a bachelor.
He
He was a contestant. He was a contestant on The Bachelorette.
But before that, he was
So
Mr.
he was a Mr.
FAMU.
He was a Mr. FAMU. What a remarkable! I mean, they really are the beginning of the. There's no dynasty without those two. What a blessing to meet your soulmate before you're even old enough to drive or to vote. Like, and here they are,
Exactly. Like, you know,
40.
like, you
Mhm.
know.
That's my girl. And I just love the fact that he paid for a lot of her stuff for her
Exactly.
campaign.
Like, he was her sponsor, like helped fund her
He's
whole
her
wardrobe
sponsor.
and everything. Like, that's
Oh,
it's really
go on
sweet.
ahead,
So
Mr.
40
Fred.
years and counting. 40 years and counting.
Oh, we love Mr. Fred. We stand a beautiful love story. We do.
On Valentine's Day.
On
How
Valentine's
appropriate. Black love. Not just black love, HBCU.
HBCU love, more specific. HBCU
Exactly.
love. We love to see it. All right, y'all. And we want to see y'all every week. So make sure you be a cutie. Like, subscribe, follow us on all of our channels on YouTube, TikTok, and Instagram at Queen of the Yard TV, on Facebook at Queen of the Yard, and on Black Twitter at _Queen of the Yard.
Be a hero. Support our crowdfunding campaign to make Queen of the Yard a hit TV series at crowdfunder.com/Queen of the Yard.
I'm Tracy Lauren.
And I'm Stacey L. Holman. Thank you, everyone, for listening and for your continuous support.
Peace.